And then the same no props or visual aids, so don't, stand up and start waving banners or doing anything. And again, please silence all mobile devices out of respect for the candidates. I'll talk really quickly about the question timing, the candidate order, and then we'll get into the questions. We have a timekeeper. Our timekeeper is Jewel Crawford Duncan. Candidates, again, have already received these instructions, but each candidate will have up to 60 seconds to give an opening or an introductory statement, up to. So if you want to take 40 seconds, it's your prerogative, but no more than 60. Additionally, candidates will have 90 seconds or 1.5 minutes to respond to all of the shareholder questions we ask, and candidates will also have 90 seconds to give a closing statement. And candidates will answer questions in the order that was established at the candidates' orientation on Monday, April 22nd. So you are already sitting in the order that was established. And so you'll be answering questions in that order, and it'll just make it easier to video. Okay, and again, you're in the candidate order, so I won't go through and say the names, but does anyone have anything, can't hear, too loud, too quiet before we kick off? Okay. So it's 3:08. We are going to begin. Claudia, you have the first question, so I will hand it off to you.
Thank you, Anika. Again, my name is Claudia Sampson. I'm co-chair of the 2024 Riverbay Board elections. The first question. No opening? Sorry. What is that?
Opening statements.
Oh, my goodness, we jumped ahead. So this is where we need to fall back a little bit. We're sort of excited here. So let's do it this way. We'll have that each person starting on my left with you, Ms. Jacqueline Smith. You will make your opening statement, and it will be limited to 1 minute. Let us know if you can see the countdown clock. If not, we will adjust. You can?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it will start at green for 1 minute, and then it will switch to yellow at 30 seconds. And 15. Oh, we changed that. Okay, and then you will get a red beep when your time is up. So starting with you and going all the way down to the end, please take a minute to introduce yourself to everyone. I see you made the sign of the cross.
Take a moment to thank God. Good evening, shareholders. My name is Jacqueline Smith, and it's my honor and my privilege to have volunteered to run for the Riverbay Board of Directors. I'm running with 3 outstanding candidates. We are the Community First team. We are 4 Co-op City shareholders that made a decision to volunteer to run for the board because we believe we have the skill set that is necessary to help this community move forward in the 21st century. Even though we are on a slate of 4, we've all pledged and have committed to, if God sees fit, to send us to the Riverbay Board of Directors, that as each situation comes before the board, we pledge to you that we will vote independently and keep the shareholder at the forefront of all our decisions. What Co-op City used to be does not have to be a memory. My mother, your grandmother, your grandmothers, your aunties, and your abuelas came here in 1968 through 1977, and they set forth the foundation of a community of shareholders. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a little reset here. I believe, was it one of the candidates that had a question?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I thought the opening statement was 1.5 minutes.
No, the opening statements are 60 seconds. Your answer to the questions are 90 seconds, and your closing statements are 90 seconds, okay? We will let you know when the clock starts so that you can start and end on time. So, there we ready. Ms. Pearson, Mary Pearson, you're
Hello.
next.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for tuning in, people at home. My name is Mary Pearson, Riverbay Board Director and 30-year resident of Section 5. I'm running with the Impact Team because we want what you want, an affordable, fair, clean, lean, green community. And I want you to send me back to
Mary.
the board.
I apologize.
Well,
You
like-
cannot
Okay,
have,
I asked, is that just for the, okay.
you cannot
A
have
little rubber
props.
cement down the drain, no big deal. I'm running with the impact team, and we want what you want, an affordable, fair, clean, green, lean community. And I want you to send me back to the board with my teammates. Andrea Leslie, I'm allowed to point, right? Andrea Leslie, public servant, longtime public servant, and advocate for the vulnerable. Kevin Fogarty, pastor and security specialist. Sheila Richburg, president of the Co-op City section of the NCNW. Zeke Springer, fellow Section 5er and Building 27 Association. What does that mean?
Thank you. Time's up.
Bernie Silich and me. Really? You didn't stop it while you were arguing with me?
Please be aware that the time does go rather fast.
The time goes.
Okay.
Even if you're telling me to put down.
Candidate number 3, please proceed.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. My name's Aaron Carnegie. I'm seeking your vote to join the Riverbay Board of Directors. Born and raised in Co-op City, I'm deeply committed to the well-being and progress of our community. As the current building president of Building 27, I have successfully increased our building's income by implementing new and innovative ideas. One of my key priorities, if elected to the board, will be enhancing safety in our neighborhood. I believe that every shareholder deserves to feel secure in their homes and their surroundings. Beyond safety, my professional experience as a manager has provided me with a strong background in budgeting and financial management. I have won numerous awards in sales and customer service, showcasing my ability to deliver results and exceed expectations. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate 3. Now, next candidate 4.
Good afternoon, shareholders and friends. As shareholders, we possess stock certificates and own beautiful, spacious, and desirable apartments that we renovate, decorate, and pass down to future generations. We do not want to lose our homes and see our seniors or neighbors on a fixed income priced out of this community. Receiving an over 7% increase last year and then being told to expect a 2.1% increase was difficult to understand, but it was anticipated. However, being informed that now we're receiving an 8.1% increase and possibly an additional increase next year is unbearable. How could financial projections be so inaccurate? We have lost parking attendants, lobby attendants, CCPD officers, quality of life, and for many, community pride. It is time to put our community first. As a union delegate for educators, I know the power of collective action. Collective action in a united community can lead to impactful change in Co-op City. By coming together, we can leverage our collective power to advocate for fair maintenance increases. Thank you.
Excuse me, there will be no shouting out from the behind. Everyone's name will be given out. Our next speaker is Bernard Silich.
Good afternoon, cooperators. You hear me?
Yes.
All right. We moved here in 1970. We've been here since 2014, 2010, I was elected to the board. In 2014, I assumed the treasurer's position, and since then I was elected to as vice president, president, and now secretary. When I assumed the position of treasurer, we discovered that we were in a financial freefall. And we're almost at the verge of being bankrupt. Well, we took over the reins and we stopped that. And since then, we had to suspend our general manager and the risk manager. Since then, we've improved our financial status, and we installed easy passes. We improved the front door lobby doors and replaced faulty elevator.
Thank you.
Next. Thank you, Mr. Silich. Next, we have Ezekiel Springer.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? I'm Ezekiel Springer, and I'm a candidate for the Riverbay Board. I'm also a member of the Impact Team, which is along with Sheila Richburg, Kevin Fogarty, Andrea Leslie, Bernard Silich, and Mary Pearson. Currently, I'm president of the Building 32 Association, and I'm a member of the Section 5 Association. What qualifies me to run for the board? Well, I'm a shareholder, just like you. I have a passion for Co-op City, and I decided to step up and show out for this community. My mission is to keep Co-op City affordable, accountable, and livable. So please vote for me, Ezekiel Springer Jr., and the rest of the Impact team. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Corazon Fernandez.
Good afternoon. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Corazon Fernandez, and I've been here in Co-op City for 19 years, and I feel like there's a need for change. I'm here to shake up and make sure that, as a shareholder first, that this community rises up as it should. There's a lot of concerns coming down from the seniors and to our generation right now. I have 3 kids, you know? I'm a new-time mom again, and this community has been crying from the rent increases, the lobby attendants not being around, you know, police, we need more. We need people here. We need more. There's enough. And I'm thanking you here for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Fernandez. Next, we have Sheila Richburg.
Greetings to my fellow shareholders. My name is Sheila Richburg, and I am asking for your vote as the Riverbay Board Director. I am a proud member of the Impact team, Andrea Leslie, Bernard Silage, Mary Pearson, Ezekiel Springer, and Kevin Fogarty. I'm honored to request your vote to serve as your Riverbay Board Director. I have a long history of service in this community. I moved here 13 years ago, and I've been involved since week 3. I joined my association, and I've been involved ever since. I brought here 13 years ago my 5 precious children, and it has been one of the best moves of my life. Research has proven that, yes, my past behavior is predictive of my performance in the future. I am the president of the National Council of Negro Women Incorporated here in Co-op City. We put on webinars, we put on health fairs, and we provide webinars about STEM and economic empowerment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Richburg. Next, we have Kevin Fogarty.
Hello, I'm Kevin Fogarty of the Impact team, consisting of Bernie Silage, Mary Pearson, Andrea Leslie, Sheila Richburg, and Ezekiel Springer. I'm running for the Board of Directors to be a liaison between the voice of the shareholders, yourselves, and the presiding management. I've lived here for over 50 years, and I share the same concerns as you, the stakeholders represented here tonight. If we can converse and think not as consumers, but as owners, I believe most of us will come to the table with more solutions to the problems and not just complaints. We, the Impact team, are not going to use political tactics and tell you what you want to hear, as difficult as that may be. We are going to be transparent and sincere, informing you of what is the reality of a situation, apprising you of what you need to know. So please vote for the Impact team. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fogarty. Next, we have Leah Graham.
Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Leah Graham, and I'm on the Community First team. And even though last year the majority board, some of whom are running again, voted to not extend this election, I am still excited to be a candidate in this year's Board of Directors election. Why? Because it's time for change. I love our community and want to offer my experience to help control spending and keep our community affordable. I have lived in Co-op City for 24 years. I'm an active building president with 6 years of board director experience from 2010 to 2016. I am deeply connected with our community needs in every single section. I have 25 plus combined years of experience as a certified instructor in management, contract acquisitions, property management, project management, and as a program analyst. You deserve directors with experience plus passion, not just passion. It doesn't pay the bills.
Thank you, Ms. Graham. Next, we have Andrea Leslie.
Good afternoon, fellow shareholders. I am Andrea Leslie, and I'm running with the Impact Team, Bernie Silage, Ezekiel Springer, Mary Pearson, Sheila Richburg, and Kevin Fogarty. I'm running for to be a member of the board to continue the progress that we have made, and in order to make our corporation fiscally responsible. We have made a number of improvements. We have improved our aging infrastructure. Co-op City is more than 50 years old, and we need to have some improvements. Things that have been decaying while you don't see things, they are behind the scenes decaying, and those things involve money. We will not tell you that you will not have increases. That's what everybody would love to hear. We don't want to frighten you into becoming involved in your community. We want to give you information. Vote for the Impact Team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, candidates. And so now we get to the part that Claudia and I were so excited to get to earlier that we almost didn't give you a chance to introduce yourselves. Sorry about that. So let me do a reminder, because the answer portion, candidates will have 90 seconds to answer. And for the closing statements, candidates will have 90 seconds. So the timer will change a little bit, whereas for the opening statements, you saw the yellow light go on at 15 seconds to let you know that you had 15 seconds remaining. For these next statements, the light will go on at 30 seconds. So you'll have 90 seconds total. At 30 seconds, the light will go on. And then you'll still get the beep at the end. Do we have any questions from candidates before we proceed? Okay.
I do have a question. It's set for 75 seconds, not 90.
I'm fixing
Is
it.
that on purpose?
Yeah, I'm fixing it. 1 second. Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Let's go. We'll maintain the same order for the questions. So question number 1, we're going to start with candidate number 1. Are we good? Okay. And the timer will not start until I'm done asking the question, okay? I won't repeat the question for every single candidate, but if you need the question repeated before you answer, just please raise your hand and ask me. But just to keep with time, I won't repeat it every single time. Question number 1. A person who sits on the Riverbay Board of Directors should be community-minded and public-spirited. How have you participated, volunteered, and/or engaged in community affairs that help to maintain and improve the quality of life in Co-op City and/or the Bronx at large? Candidate number 1, begin.
Good evening. My name is Jacqueline Smith, and I want to thank you for the question. I moved into Co-op City in 1971, and at the age of 16, I began my community service by being a camp counselor supervisor in Section 5, the first time we ever had a camp for Co-op City. Then I had to go to school, and I had to take out student loans, and then I had to work 2 jobs to pay them back. So around 20 years ago, after paying back my student loans, I started my community service in Co-op City. I worked on my townhouse association, but I think my proudest glory was when I worked on the MTA ad hoc committee. It was the time that I got to see shareholders come together and work on a serious problem that would have devastated our community. It was so nice to see that because I was so accustomed to seeing that growing up. I've been involved in several projects, and I'm here to serve. And I want to say that to be a Riverbay Board
30
Director,
seconds.
your primary responsibility is judiciary. So that means you have to have some understanding of budgeting and finance. Now, it's great, like my colleague Leah says to me, to have passion, but passion doesn't pay the bills. There are different subcommittees that you can join. But to want to be on the Riverbay Board of Directors, I think you need to have a little bit more skill set to move this corporation and our community into the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you. 1 second, we need to fix it so it gives the warning. Candidate number 2, are you ready?
Okay, hello. I have done a lot for and with the community. I'd say it started when, within the first year, I started bringing world-known musicians to the community in, I'm getting grants, and I brought them Billy Taylor, I brought Diva Big Band, did a series, the new season jazz series, lots and lots of concerts. I brought a play here, a children's play that I had written. In fact, it was in 1995, so maybe some of you who are 40 years old saw it when you were a kid. I also worked on the MTA ad hoc committee, and I brought to the community and to that committee ideas that were used. We're not done yet with that, though. What else have I done? I marched with the community for Errol Garner, both in Staten Island and then in DC. I fought the monopole. We finally beat the monopole. Now all we need to do is see it come down. I made the little Section 5 Waterview Park come to life. And I've been fighting for the Metro North Fairness DOT MTA. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate number 3.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Again, my name's Aaron Carnegie. I was born and raised in Co-op City. Many of you probably have seen me. I taught tennis to either your kids or your grandkids, right out here, outside Truman. As Dave mentioned, the MTA, I was the actual chairman of the MTA ad hoc committee. I am still actively fighting, or I shouldn't say fighting, working with the MTA, because I have an idea that we should have done a long time ago, which is have vending machines here. We should have had it for the Metro cards, so now we didn't have to rely, or don't have to rely on the Metro card bus. My goal is now they're switching to Omni. So I would like to bring the Omni vending machines here to each community center. I am working with that. I'm working with Riverbay with that. They've already agreed with just trying to get the MTA on board. Like I said, I am the building president of Building 27. I am part of the Section 5 Association. I am part of numerous community organizations here in Co-op City, NAACP. So community service is in my blood. It has been since teaching tennis when I was starting about 8 years old. So I do have some plans that I would like to do for Co-op City. Thank you.
Candidate number 4.
Hello, everyone. I've served senior citizens at the YASA. I'm a 24-year educator. I've tutored students in the community. I've spoken to senior citizens, which I think is a very important task. When someone is feeling lonely or out of place, I've sat in different areas to speak with senior citizens. I've advocated for children most of my career. I started a youth program in my building as well as around Co-op City. I've tried to advocate for us to have places that the youth can go after school, which is the most dangerous time of the day for our youth. My advocacy comes basically for children and senior citizens because I think they're the most vulnerable in our community, as well as people who just need someone to speak to. So in my building, there's also senior citizens that have no one. So I do a checkup on some senior citizens. And recently we had to go a little further. And I know Co-op City has something where they check on senior citizens periodically. However, a lot of seniors are not in touch with that organization or whatever Co-op City is currently doing. So I try to extend myself and speak to seniors about it and let them know that there is help, there is someone out there for you, and that you can get in touch with a number, and I try to advocate for them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 5.
Yes. In 1974, I initiated a lobbying effort to go to Albany. We organized 50 busloads of cooperatives, a historic event to try to get some bills passed to relieve our financial crisis we were in. There was an expected 25% carrying charge increase. We came back empty-handed, and we initiated a rent strike. I was one of the leaders there. We struck for 13 months to get some relief. Unfortunately, we didn't get a relief. We got some adjustments. Later on, in 1984, we organized a petition drive to get a satellite police station here. We collected 8,000 signatures. We picketed the police station. Unfortunately, we never won one. In 2010 rather, when the MTA cut some bus service, I organized a coalition, and we collected over 8,000 signatures demanding the restoration of those buses. However, we didn't get one till 29 when we organized a new coalition, and subsequently we got those buses restored. In 2018, we organized celebration. I was part of the celebration committee with Linda Burke, the president of the board of directors. We organized 2018 celebration
Thank you.
50th anniversary.
Candidate number 6.
Hello, people. Ezekiel Springer again. I've been a member of my Building 32 Association since 2018. I've started off as a secretary of that organization, and I've worked my way up as the president. And in that time, I've met many cooperators who have told me their concerns. We've reached back to CSO and building management and had those concerns taken care of. I made a video back in 2022 against the ramp that's almost here now. Unfortunately, those efforts did not come to fruition, but I was out there. And also, I'm a Coalition to Save Affordable Housing member. Some of you are here tonight. Big up. And I've also advocated for our community with the coming of the Metro North train station so that our needs get met. Because when that train station comes, they're going to do whatever they want to do, and we can't let that happen. So now I'm a member of the Section 5 Association, which is great. I suggest all building association presidents be part of that.
Thank you. Candidate number 7.
Hello, Corazon Fernandez here. It all started with, I want to say 2010, 2011, when I started working for the post office. I started working for the post office here in Co-op City. So I'm very familiar with the seniors here. I want to get more familiar, but I've known since then that the seniors had a lot of more freedom and liberty back then when they had lobby attendance. Now, not so much. You know, there's no lobby attendance. The seniors are at risk. They don't feel safe. And with that being said, you know, I want to put the community out there and know that they need that help. And also, I've done community service for the Bronx Borough President and District 14. I've handed out pamphlets for Michael Benedetto. You know, I'm proactive, and I want to be more proactive with you guys. I want to figure this out, how we could help, how we could be better. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Candidate number 8.
Yes, good afternoon. As stated earlier, I'm the president of the National Council of Negro Women. We put on webinars, health fairs in our community. We had a health fair that had over 500 attendees in 2022. We brought 57 different vendors here to provide the community with resources. As we know, we have a lot of health issues, and we need to educate ourselves so we can do better. I am also a Riverbay Fund Director here in this community, where we seek and we allocate resources to continue having community events in our community to keep up our community spirit. I have grant writing experience. I have written grants for my organization and allocated funds for us. I am a notary public. 2 weeks ago, I was able to provide free notary services before our affidavits were due. I am a nurse. I am an RN. During COVID, I was able to give COVID vaccinations in this community right in Dreiser Loop during my night hours when I worked my day job. So I am all about service to this community. I have a master's degree, like I said, in nursing, and now I educate the community in diabetes education. I also do home care in this community. Some of you may recognize me as your home care nurse because I do go door to door.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Candidate number 10.
Hi, Kevin Fogarty. I'm looking to retire soon, and like I said, I've been here for 50 years, and during that time, I've made a lot of connections with my neighbors. I grew up in Cooper Place, and I now live over in Alcott, and I'm a community person as it relates to people. What I offer to the community is I visit the widows, I visit the fatherless, I visit those that are less fortunate and are afraid to go out, whether it's COVID. I help by going shopping for them, I do the garbage for them, I offer my skill set with computers free of charge, I build and repair computers. So the chemistry that I've built with neighbors over the 50 years, those are the people that I've been actively involved with, checking on them to ensure that they are comfortable. So my contribution to the community is about reaching the people, listening to their concerns, finding out what is on their minds. My hope, since I'm learning from the ground up, because this is new for me, I need to learn the resources. I want information. I'm an information junkie. That way, when the problem arises, I can steer people to the right sources, and we can get things done. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate 11.
Hi, my name is Leah Graham. I'm with the Community First team. I have over 10 years experience as an advocacy analyst and a facilitator. As an active building president, I have initiated our annual CPR classes. We've also started our civic literacy series where we have invited various elected officials to attend our meetings and explain their roles and responsibilities to the community. I have also, as a prior director for 6 years, I chaired your budget committee, where I had included several individuals within our community that had CPA and budget experience, as well as those who did not, so we can have a fresh eyes on our budget. I also was on a team that helped facilitate the televised board meetings that you have in front of you now. That was another major accomplishment. I have also volunteered with Dreiser. I am a member of the Toastmasters Club in Co-op City, as well as the NAACP and our Democratic Club. As a building president, I'm actively involved with our monthly Buildings and Grounds meeting, and I have worked with several building presidents to get our bathrooms open for our garage members. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate number 12.
Hi, I'm Andrea Leslie. I'm part of the Impact team with Bernie Silage, Sheila Richburg, Mary Pearson, Ezekiel Springer Jr., and Kevin Fogarty. I have been involved with this community ever since I got here. My building association, a number of community organizations, I've been involved from the very beginning. But one of the major contributions to the community that I have is I'm a 30-year New York City employee, and part of my responsibility in that is receiving and helping shareholders and Bronx residents to receive grants and funds in reference to a number of people who are in whatever financial situations they're in. In that vein, I've brought monies to the community to help with clients who are in arrears and bringing saving them to afford them to continue to live in the community, getting benefits, grants, funding for that. That's part of my contribution. I still do that. I'm one of the first board members too who was a full-time employee while everybody else was retired. A number of people chose to wait until they retired to be involved with the board. I did that as a full-time employee, and I still continue to do that. And I'm involved in a number of other things here in the community. I'm a member of the Coalition to Save Affordable Housing, African American Association, building associations. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that concludes our candidate responses for question number 1. Claudia, you have question number 2?
Yes, thank you, Anika. Our second question, and we'll go in the same order in which we started. Candidate number 1, if you are elected to the Riverbay Board of Directors this year, what would you do differently from what is currently being done now to keep living here affordable and at the same time maintain the level of services people expect?
Thank you for the question. Number 1, the main responsibility that a board member has is fiduciary. The responsibility of a Riverbay board member is to watch the budget. I do a lot of service. I've been a social worker over 30 years. I've been an administrator very good. I've been an administrative manager at a POD. That means I had oversight of New York City for administering the COVID vaccine. But my responsibility as a Riverbay board member is to watch the budget. And what I would like to do, speaking with my team meetings, Leah and Shanna, is we want to bring back the Budget Compliancy Committee. Every quarter, that budget is to be reviewed. Even though the projection will be handed in, let's say, 1 and 2 years in advance, it should be reviewed every 3 to 4 months. And this way you can make adjustments. We have a very large property. We have a gorgeous property. That's why we all moved here and put up all that equity. So we are going to see some increases. 1%, 2% every year is reasonable. We have to maintain our property. But when you see increases past 5% over a 3-year period, you have to ask yourself, did anyone go back and review the budget? Number 2, I'd like to bring back the Community Relations Committee that I grew up with in 1971, was disbanded under a particular board, and all things related to what you would like to see go somewhere else to the fund. Board members are not responsible to get...
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Candidate number 2, I need to repeat the question, or are you clear what it is?
I'm pretty clear what it is.
Okay, go right ahead.
What would I change? Well, not anything that was mentioned, because, you know, I trust management. I've always trusted management, because what other choice do we have? Are we going to go out there and take up the garbage and take care of everything that needs taking? We are a city. We are, you know, we say we're 50,000, but we're about 40,000 people living here officially. Who knows how many are in the, but officially we're about 40,000 people. No one can do a city with people questioning every move they make. Now we have new management. Marvin Walton came in, and every single month he keeps up with the budget. He says, this is what we planned, and this is what we've spent, and we've come in under budget. However, unfortunately, we had a little thing called the pandemic, and we had a little thing called the Ukraine war that messed up everything. We had supply chain issues, that we couldn't get the right flooring, we couldn't, the price of insurance went from about $3 million to about $7 million in 1 year. The water bill is $17.5 million. It's $1,000 an apartment. We have so many expenses that were brought on suddenly, and I'm out of time.
Candidate number 3, Mr. Carnegie.
Thank you. One thing I would change that is not being done, we need to start looking for alternative sources of income. Currently, 97% of Riverbay's income comes from our carrying charges. We have to change that number. We have to lower that number. We have the opportunity to find alternative sources just from ideas from the community. I wanted to do a food festival in Co-op City that would have generated $40,000 a day. If we did 10 days, that's $400,000. That's not a lot, but it's not a little bit of money either. That's what we need to start doing. Currently, that's not being done now, and it is costing us, I know everyone likes to say 8.1, it's costing us for the past 2 years 15%. That's a lot of money. We have got to stop just doing what we've normally done. There's a saying, in order to be somewhere you've never been, you must do things you've never done. We have to change the mentality, and it starts with this election, and start with the changing of the guard and putting some fresh ideas and some new blood on this board of directors. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carnegie. I just want to have a brief announcement. Please, audience, refrain from making any remarks or noises while the candidates are speaking. Thank you very much. Go right ahead, Shauna Zelda.
Hello. We need a complete overhaul of finances. We need to really see where our money is going. It's easy to say different things are happening as to why we are receiving increases and the cost of living and everything else, but we really need to get in and see what's happening with our finances. We really need to start looking at programs and subsidies that we can get, that we are entitled to as a cooperative from the government, things that we are overlooking. We should not continuously rely on shareholders' funds to pay the bills. We need to make sure that we have enough reserve where we can pay our bills and still feel comfortable and not give the brunt of the funding from the shareholders. We need to look at government grants. We need to be proactive. We need to take a look at the 27 departments that we currently have where I believe over $100 million is being paid in salaries. We are not, I said this last year when I ran, we are not a Fortune 500 company. Why are we paying out salaries as if we are? The money that's coming into Co-op City is based on shareholders' funds, based on what we're paying through our apartments. We can't continuously foot the bill for what's happening here. We need to hire people that are educated. We need to hire people that are licensed to do the work.
Thank you. Next, we have Bernie Silage.
Yes, I agree with Mary. We have a management company, and monthly we meet with them, reviewing precisely what we're asked to review, and that is the budget. Now, let me just briefly tell you something where we are. As we know, 97% of our income to operate this corporation comes from carrying charges. There's no sugar daddy, there's no money tree, and the state and the federal government and the city have yet, well, exception from now, they've yet to give us any money, except now they adopted the bill to give us $50 million for capital projects. However, let me just point out to you that we trimmed our payroll by $9 million. Our carrying charges have increased, yes, but less than consumer price index. But where we are problem is that we have increases of 400% by insurance companies. And I'm proposing that we initiate a citywide meeting with all cooperatives and non-profit institutions to review and establish some kind of a committee to try to see where we need to tackle the insurance business. They're gouging us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ezekiel Springer Jr. You're next.
What I would do differently is try and sit down with HCR and negotiate with them a metric on how to calculate our carrying charge increase. Instead, HCR came in like gangbusters and just laid the smack down, 8.1, shut up, take it. That was ridiculous. And we need legislative help to fight back and stand up for ourselves that this is something we need. This is something we need to take care of. We can't let HCR push us around like that and just say, here's 8.1% and just take it. Sit with us. The board came up with 2.1 and HCR came up with 8.1. The difference there is ridiculous. There were two different metrics being used. The metrics should have been brought together. Can we come with a combination? Can we meet somewhere in between? That's what I would do differently. And I would not have liked that to happen because that wasn't right. That HCR just laid the hammer down, boom, 8.1, go home, take it. No, we have to sit, negotiate, and get the politicians, some of y'all are here, to sit with HCR and make changes to
Thank you very much. Next, Corazon Fernandez.
Although I don't have experience like you guys, basically more outside grants, from elected officials is a start. Closer examination of our budget, we need to access corporate documents to see how the building outside income can be done to generate more outside income. And basically, let's start off with, as we all know, the rent increases. No additional rent increases, no forcing Co-op City residents to pay extra to charge electric vehicles, in which we already pay for electricity. I stated before, and I will state again, with the help of budgeting, try to bring back lobby attendants and our garage attendants. And with that, until I'm on the board, until we could figure this out. That's why I'm here. I'm a fresh face. So I thank you.
Can you all try to get a little closer to the mic so we can pick up your sound?
No problem.
Some of your voices are not being picked up properly. Okay, next we have Sheila Richburg.
Thank you for that question. I am a part of the impact team, and I would like to just say that one of the things that I went to the mayor's forum. I don't know if anyone else went. It was a few months ago. And they gave statistics about how Co-op City is saving New York City so much money by doing a lot of things ourselves. That we saved New York City $4 million because we have private garbage collection. And we save $13 million because we have our own CCPD. And I'm not sure if it's happening, but I think we should have a committee that speaks to the mayor to see if we can get credit for some of these funds that we're putting out, because you as the shareholders are paying for this, and we should be able to recoup some of this money. I would like to actively use my experience to do grant writing, to seek funds from our electeds on the local, on the city, and on the federal level. One thing that I thought about was looking at our budget and looking at it systematically from the different departments. And I look at our CCPD and I commend our CCPD, but maybe we can do things a little differently. Do we need all police officers? Can we have some safety officers to fill those positions? Thank you.
Kevin Folke, you're next.
Hi, Kevin Fogy. I made a statement earlier about thinking as an owner as opposed to a consumer. You're going to hear a lot of stats, a lot of figures. The problem here is we don't have the proper education. If all we do is think as consumers and consume, then you're not really understanding what I mean by acting as if you're an owner. If you owned a business, you have to pay salaries, you have to pay utilities, you have to pay taxes. There's so much involved than more than just being a consumer. If you begin to treat this as such, then you'll begin to understand what the board of directors' problems are, because we're tied with some of the bureaucracy that comes from higher authority. So what I would like to do different is make the information more transparent, educate you as to what it takes. For example, did you know that for every $2 million that we need, that we do not have to pay the bills, that's a 1% increase in carrying charge. So if the government's telling us we need 8% increase, you have to understand what they're telling us. We're $16 million in the hole.
Thank you. Next, we have Leah Graham.
Hi, I am with the Community First team, and what I would do differently if I was elected. When I was the budget chair, what I would probably do differently is initiate my conversations with the HCR Finance Department sooner than I did. The goal was for us to clearly understand what HCR is looking at when they review the budgets of all Mitchell-Lama co-ops. So we're not surprised by an increase, that we would know what we would need to do to minimize. HCR's job is to evaluate the different Mitchell-Lama co-ops budget. If we are financially stable, they're not going to impose. They're doing their job. When we are not financially stable, then they will have to impose to ensure that this community and others stay within financial guidelines. The second thing that I would probably do if elected is to what I consider removing the divide of board directors. When we're running, we're in these teams. And when we're sworn in, that should end. And that doesn't always end. What happens is sometimes these teams stay in these cliques, and then they elect people to these executive positions, not based on their experience, but because they were on their team. We had someone who's a banking attorney who was not made treasurer because they wasn't on the team. So these are the kind of things I would like to create some fairness within the community. Thank you.
Next, we have Andrea Leslie.
Some of the things that I would like to change, not change, because every time we have a meeting, one of the questions that I ask of management is to try to find some other source of income, because I realize that majority of the income comes from carrying charges. We can have a ratio of 20% other source and 80% carrying charge. That's the basic that we have to keep, and I think that we can, if we find other sources, reach that balance, so there isn't such a thing. I was involved when we had the original $600 million financing, and actually HUD had insisted that we have a 2% carrying charge increase every year going forward, and we were able to negotiate that as we thought we needed responsibly, we would have an increase. So they allowed us to make that decision. So that's what we do. If we need it, then we have it. We don't ask for carrying charge increases just to have carrying charge increases. We do that so that we can remain fiscally sound. We have politicians saying that we are one of the better run co-ops in Mitchell-Lama co-ops. We have Mitchell-Lama co-ops facing 40-some% increases. We are not doing that. We have an aging infrastructure that we have to keep maintained, and we have no other choice but to do that.
Thank you.
You wouldn't believe we're making really good time. Thank you, candidates, for being respectful of the clock, although I think with the beeping, you don't really, it kind of just cuts you off. Okay, so for question number 3, get ready. What professional skills do you possess that will help Co-op City solve the important financial issues we are facing? For example, our budget and convector issues. Candidate number 1, please begin.
Thank you for the question. I have a master's degree as a social worker. I have a master's degree from Hunter, professional development series. I'm a certified trauma specialist. I'm a 30-year experience administrator, which I like to tout as my best experience, because one of the things we need here in Co-op City, because the second responsibility a board member has is to review management. The state will not let us manage ourselves. Yes, I don't want to be compared to other Mitchell Lamas. I'm Co-op City. And one of the responsibilities a board member has is to evaluate management. So as an administrator, 30 years experience, a union delegate, a committee meeting on the legislative committee, I know how to evaluate people. The Riverbay Board is supposed to set policy. They're supposed to write policy. I have 20 years as a policy writer. We have to evaluate management. We have to ask them to set up a portable whereby shareholders can go to them with their concerns. Individual shareholders shouldn't have to call their friend on the board to get their closet fixed. Every shareholder should have access to management. As a board member, I have the responsibility to review their performance. We pay them. So those are the skill sets that I have. And the third one is I want to bring back the Community Relations Committee. That was the committee that I grew up with, where shareholders were able to attend and give us ideas.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I'm
candidate.
afraid I need a repeat of the question.
Sure, no problem. What professional skills do you possess that will help Co-op City solve the important financial issues we are facing? For example, our budget and convector issues.
Thank you. I'm very good with numbers. I'm on the construction committee. I was on the insurance committee. Monique was the chair of that committee, and I was sitting there with the numbers trying to figure out stuff. The night before we got the last increase, $400,000 was off the table because the main guy's commission, he said, oh, I'll go from 10% to 9%. But when he showed up that day, he went from 10% to 5%. I personally take credit for that $400,000. It was Monique's idea to tell him, freeze it. Why should we pay you more when you are getting us a worse deal? They wanted the 10% commission on the $7 million, not the $3 million of the year before, for instance. Okay, convectors. We are in the most exciting, actually something is going to happen position with convectors. Bernie and Claudia started it. Claudia started it with the little sensors, the moisture sensors. Bernie just did some research and he found an automatic turn-off shut valve. I met somebody at Rochdale Village who were having all their convectors changed. And I told him what we wanted. He went back to the draw board 5 times and he's going to give us the greatest convectors.
Thank you.
It's so exciting.
Thank you. Candidate number 3.
Thank you. I'll be quick. My experience, I was a manager. I dealt with budgeting. I dealt with finance. I dealt with maintenance issues. Just like Mary and Bernie, I'm also on the construction committee. In terms of the convectors, yes, we've had many different iterations for convectors for co-op, and something is coming down the pipe. I'm very happy something is coming down the pipe. But be aware, it's not free. It's going to cost money to get our new convectors. It's going to cost not a little bit of money for these convectors. And it's going to take time to get them. We have 15,300 apartments in Co-op City. Most of the apartments have a minimum of 2 convectors in the apartment. Oh yeah, 3, excuse me. Those have to be replaced, the pipes have to be replaced. It's a big bill. So just be aware of that. And we are working to try to bring something exciting in terms of the thermostat also, so we can control the temperature in the apartment.
Thank you. Thank you. Might I issue a reminder to the candidates, please refrain from interrupting other candidates while they are speaking. Thank you so much. And we'll hear from candidate number 4.
Hi, I have an associate's degree in business management. I have a bachelor's in business administration, and I have a master's in education. I worked in corporate for 15 years in the records department in a law firm. I was the manager of 7 staff members. I held the budget for our outside agencies and outside where we held our documents. I think the convector is a promise that has never been fulfilled. I think we need to look at other high-rises, not only in this country, but other countries, to find out what innovative processes that they have that's going on that's successful for themselves. I think even if we get something for the convector, and this is a sore thumb for everyone, and promises have been made, even if we get something, we have to consider 15,375 apartments times how many convectors per apartment. We don't even have, when you're trying to get a car, they don't even have the parts because we can't get the parts. So imagine, even if something does work, that company has to produce that amount, mass produce that amount of equipment. So is that realistic? We have to come up with better solutions. But I am capable of being a board member and doing what is necessary to cut our budget, looking at our budget and trying to find different areas where we can cut expenses, as well as promote bringing expenses in, bringing some additional funds in. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate number 5.
Yeah, Bernard Solik. I'm part of the impact team with Andrea Leslie, Mary Peterson, Sheila Richburg, Ezekiel Springer, and Kevin Fogey. Let me inform you that I've been a member, actually chairman of the construction committee, the construction power plant and restoration committee. And I've retired 45-year electrician. So one of the things that we concerned with immediately as took over as chairman is precisely the question of convectors. And we've been dealing with this problem. We went as far as Pennsylvania to look at what they did in one of the buildings there, 751 unit apartment with the same similar problems. They replaced the entire system there, and people there coughed up $23,000 per apartment. We got those engineers here, and they looked at it, and they said, well, it's going to cost me between $250 million to $500 million. Well, you know it was prohibitive price. So we let it go, and then finally management hired a consultant engineer. He came back with a price tag of $1.3 billion. So we said that is impossible for us to do. And now the management has put in a pilot program, both using the one I found, the auto shutter valve, and convectors as pilot project.
Thank you. Candidate number 6.
Hello, Ezekiel Springer again. I graduated from St. John's University with a BA in communications, and I've worked the last 23 years as a quality control technician. So I know about quality control. It's what I do, it's what I'm paid for to do. So I can look at budgets, see what's wrong, because that's what I'm paid to do, to see what's wrong, to hear what's wrong, or to see what's right and to hear what's right. I'm really heartened by what I'm hearing about with the convector pilot program. It sounds like a great plan. Hopefully it works, hopefully it comes through. As Bernie stated, to do all our convectors, that's $1.2 billion. $1.2 billion we do not have. So according to the pilot program, there's 32 apartments right now here in Co-op testing possible new convectors. Hopefully it works. If I'm on the board, I want to see this pilot program through. I want to make sure that we pick the right, efficient convector. Right now, there's a plan to only swap out what's in the living room, but hopefully we can get any price tag down, which is now $39 million.
Thank you. Candidate number 7.
You could hear me? Okay. I work for the federal government. I'm a supervisor for it. I'm not here to be management. I'm basically here to propose a policy and to come back to the board with answers. Basically to hear you guys out, to hear the shareholders out. And basically, if it doesn't make sense for it, I vote against it. And if it's good for management or future waste, you know. Hello? All right. Did you guys hear me? Okay. I'm again, Corazon Fernandez, please vote for me. But again, I'm just trying to hear you guys out. I am not management. I'm a board of director. You guys come with the concerns. I give it to management. And anything that you guys need help with, I bring it to management. And they decide on what we could do, how we could fix things. So I need to hear from you guys how we could do that. So, and with that, I say thank you.
Thank you. Candidate number 8.
Good afternoon again. I bring solid leadership experience to the table. I have grant writing experience that I would love to utilize. As we know, that's a tedious process. But there's funds out here. There's money out here. We like to seek funds from our electeds. I'm also a notary public, which I mentioned. I have a master's degree in nursing education. Education is important because if we don't know how to do this, there's someone out there that can assist us with the process. And we have to start the process of fixing the convectors. Common sense tells us we cannot allow these convectors to continue. I spoke with a resident who said that her convector leaks every season. Every season. That is a hemorrhage. We have to start the process of fixing the convectors. I'm happy to hear that there's something started, this Bellamy Loop pilot program. And as a Riverbay board director, I would love to have that hands-on, 100% hands-on deck approach. It's not your problem, my problem. Everyone should be able to be a part of the solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate number 10.
Kevin Fogarty. My skill set is going to seem a bit unusual to you because as a pastor, I've learned to listen. Listening is a very, very important skill set for me. What I bring to the table is I listen to the information, and I take that information, I gather it, and I make the best possible conclusion out of that, which translates to using, software, whether it's Excel, Word, PowerPoint, to generate these ideas. But one of the things that I think is important, we're supposed to be able to gather all together as a think tank, as if you will, and we just bounce ideas off of each other. I'm one for doing the research. I just want information, do the research. Then I present that back to the community, if you will, and we make an educated decision. And that's all we're here to do. A lot of times, we want to take an atmosphere that is basically visceral in nature and vitriol in intent and make it where we can just say, listen, we can agree to disagree, but what is best for the community? If we have personal agendas, this will not work. So let's listen to one another, bring whatever the skill set is, and let's work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate 11.
Hi, again, Leah Graham. My experience, I have a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration and Leadership. I have certification to handle federal acquisitions contracts, and that's really key. A lot of money flows through here through contracting, and we need to have people on the board that can help evaluate what the managing agent is doing. My job is not to be involved in day-to-day. My job as a board director is to evaluate the managing agent and ensure adherence to his contract, right? The managing agent is a contractor. And a lot of the jobs that are done here are through contracts. We went from local law 11 that started at 37 million and it went to 77 million. It is very important to have people on the board with business experience that can get behind the numbers and hold the managing agent accountable. My job is not to do his job. Otherwise, I don't need him, right? Any managing agent that's here, we should be holding them to success, right? I'm going to evaluate any managing agent, because I manage contractors all the time, on success. If we're not successful, you're not successful. Your job is to manage the 27 departments that we have before you and come to us with viable solutions on how things should be handled. In addition to that, I'm a policy analyst and a 38-year public servant. Thank you.
I'm going to make one final announcement to candidates to please refrain from interrupting other candidates while they are speaking. Thank you very much. Candidate number 12, same question. Do you need a repeat? Okay, same question.
I have a bachelor's degree in social work and education, and though those are skills that I've brought to the board and to the community, that is not, I think, the most important thing. In reference to us being board members, other than setting policy, when management comes to us, when it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. They have to bring black and white numbers to us for us to analyze, to decide whether this makes sense or it doesn't make sense. When we've been working on the budget, a number of times when we decide on what it is that we should approve, those numbers are questioned. We don't always go along with management. As a matter of fact, there have been times when, simply because there is not the majority to vote on something, even though we need it, we've been on the brink of not having some things passed so that we can actually continue to function. So we have to bring that understanding to the board, other than what our actual skills are. We understand that management is who we need to work as a partner with. Management is not our enemy. Management is working for us and work with us for us to accomplish having a fiscally sound community.
Thank you.
We're going to reverse the order in which the questions are answered. So, in which case, candidate number 12, you will be asked the next question. And that question is, how do you plan to oversee the property management agent, Douglas Elliman?
Well, we have regular monthly meetings, bi-monthly meetings actually, and as a matter of fact, they've brought to us a suggestion that we have briefing sessions prior to our making decisions, which I think has been a good move, and I think we should continue that, because sometimes you're able to get a little more information and you have an opportunity to ask even more questions at that briefing sessions, because the project managers for whatever projects we're working on usually is at those sessions. That is an important thing to have us continue to do. We have to pay closer attention to the policies that we're trying to implement and how they affect the shareholders, because what we provide is service, and sometimes we have to be mindful of how that impacts the shareholders. And a lot of it is actually put it into effect to make sure that it's effective, that we're, the policies that we've put in place, that the shareholders are on board. And as Mr. Fogey was pointing out, listening more to the shareholders for what it is that they feel that impacts them more. And so then we can actually interact with management to carry those things out.
Thank you. Next, same question directed at you, Leah Graham.
Thank you. 67,000 convectors. 67,000 convectors. Okay, contracts experience, right? My background is in contracts. I would be evaluating the managing agent. I have, I don't know, over 20 years experience in management and leadership. I still lead to this day in my job. That managing agent would have to present to us what it is the procurement department is doing. 67,000 convectors. Have they performed any market research within the convector industry and come back, right? Because when we do RFIs, the industry is willing, these companies are willing to give us information, to share, right? We have to hold the managing agent accountable. We have to evaluate them. I would thoroughly, because of my background, look at his contract and see what his deliverables are. What is it he's supposed to do? Put together an evaluation, and again, evaluate him based on our success. Our success is very important. We want to keep this community affordable. We have so many people here who had great jobs, great pensions, on a fixed income. We don't want them priced out. I don't want us priced out. We have to hold the managing agent accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Fogarty, you're
Hi,
next.
Kevin Fogarty. The Douglas Elliman Property Management Corporation is actually being well represented by Executive General Manager Mr. Marvin Walton. I have to admit that. I've only met him once, but I was impressed at the Building Association meeting that I had. And then we did communicate by email one other time. What I would look to do is ensure more communication. We're talking about holding them accountable for whatever the issues may be. Now, I may not know the capital budget side, but I am very much aware of the operational side, meaning maintenance in our building and all the things that deal with the goods and services that we're afforded. What I have an issue with is if there's a complaint and there needs to be accountability on a particular employee, I want to make sure that that is dealt with. Because if we can weed out what I call dead weight and start filling a lot of these other positions that we find are necessary for quality of life, I want to know who is doing the quality control, who's checking behind these workers as they do their jobs. I don't even want to begin to enumerate what I see on my floor, but I want to hold the management responsible for holding them accountable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sheila Richburg.
Yes, I agree with Mr. Fogarty, a part of the impact team. Accountability is key, and as a Riverbay Board Director, we must hold our management company accountable. From what I see as well, our management company is now led by Mr. Marvin Walton. He's new, but he appears to be diligent, but he still has to be held accountable. As a new board member, I would expect training, board training for our members, so that we can be accountable for ourselves and we can run this $250 million company effectively. I would show up for monthly meetings. I understand people have a lot of experience, but they don't show up for board meetings. You have to show up for board meetings. You have to show up for the briefing sessions. You have to do your due diligence to understand what's being asked of you so that you can make the most informed decision. I'm a part of the impact team, and that's what has been happening with our members. Bernie Silich, Andrea Leslie, Mary Pearson, Ezekiel Springer, Kevin Fogarty, and myself. Please vote for our team. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that we refrain from any personal attacks or implying anything about the nature of other people who are on the board. It's just a nice way of just being polite, courteous, and respectful. So we may proceed. Are you ready, Corson? Go right ahead.
Okay. I don't. I judge what they do on a basis of the residents being happy with them, not board members. Service is bad, mice and roaches, rent's too high. The people of Co-op City must have a say, either yay or nay. Otherwise, board directors, they don't keep the objects of the residents. Good service has to be good service. If not, bad service goes. It's you. You are the shareholders. The people have to speak. You have to have an evaluation for, for what you want. And again, with that, I'm Corazon Fernandez, and I thank you.
Okay. Ezekiel Springer, you're next.
Well, I think transparency is the key, and that means holding management accountable. But as a board member, we too have to be accountable. So far, with Marvin Walton, our executive general manager, he seems to be open and amenable to our needs so far, but we have to be careful about complacency, because when you're in a position for a very long time, you tend to become complacent, and when complacency happens, you cut corners. So the key is transparency and due diligence and accountability, because as Marvin Walton said in his speech when he presented it to all the building presidents and then to an open board meeting, we are a triangle. We are the shareholders, management, and the board. Take away one side, and the triangle falls apart. The shape falls apart. So we have to be accountable to each other and hold each other's feet to the fire. Maybe one example that we could use is when it comes to the budget, we have a budget versus actual spending report. So that way we know what repairs are being done, how much they cost, and are we spending money on these repairs wisely?
Thank you. Next, Bernie Silage.
Interesting enough is that the board has been very self-conscious, self-critical, that we have not been able to get together and establish metric and goals for the management, because that's what they ask us. And we have to establish goals for ourselves too, and that takes quite a while to do so. We have to take time to do that, and we haven't been able to do that. And that's when you begin to use that to judge our management and how they perform. And I believe when we get on together again, if I get elected, we'll raise this and we'll take our time to develop and establish those goals and metrics, and then we'll be able to discuss and come back to you, the cooperatives, whether those goals have been fulfilled, and then begin to correct it. There's one more thing I need to advise you. Those pilot programs that we are Management Institute in regard to the convectors is just being instituted right now. And it won't be finished until the season, the AC season is over. So we can't make a judgment, a decision, what convector we're gonna purchase, or what kind of a system we're gonna introduce. And of course, that can be cost effective, and we'll come back, management will come back to the board, and we'll come back to the community with our proposals. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to make sure we stay on topic because time is very tight. So please do your best to answer our question, which is, how do you plan to oversee the property management agent, Douglas Elliman?
Are you talking about me by chance? No, just kidding.
Not at all.
No, it's okay.
Thank you.
Just joking. Community visibility, how visible is he in the community? Not only meeting with presidents of the building, but meeting with the shareholders in an arena such as this one, annual or semi-annual reviews of his performance, finding out how Douglas Elliman has treated their other property, because I'm sure this is a multi-billion-dollar, business, and it would be interesting to find out how they treat their other buildings. What are the expectations they have for the other buildings and the managers that they put in those other buildings? So it goes beyond Walter, it goes to Douglas Elliman. They're the one that put him here, and they're the one that's also directing him as to what to do here. So the expectations on him, we need to find that out as well. I think how he's dealing with contractors, our financial situation, as I said, not only meeting with building presidents, but meeting with shareholders. and just holding him accountable and having the shareholders, the board of directors are not the only ones that should be holding him accountable. It should be shareholders. So there should be a Dropbox somewhere or a QR code where you can phone in or Zoom in that says how he's doing and what you think he needs to change and what needs to happen in this community, because it is your community and it's up to all of us collectively. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Aaron Carnegie.
Thank you. We are currently, as you know, Doug Sullivan, we just had Mr. Walton come in about a year ago. Starting about July, Mr. Walton will be putting together his very first budget for our community. He has been holding himself, and we have been holding him accountable already. He has gone around to each and every building association. And remember, those of you who are building presidents like I am, or even if you're not, you have the right to ask your building president to have him come and speak. Don't be shy and don't think that he's too high up that he should not come to your building association meetings. Because he will come if you ask him to explain almost anything. That's accountability. That's holding his feet to the fire. Let's also remember that when he puts together that budget, this board will have a say in it. So we cannot sit here. This election is the most consequential election in recent times. We have to make sure we're putting the right people in place, because come July, he's going to put together his budget for us. So we can't have the wrong people here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, Mary Pearson.
Hi, yeah, that's right. I'm Mary Pearson, and it's impossible to answer this question in 90 seconds, but I am going to try. I'll speak really, really fast. We are not adversaries with our management company. We are working with them. We are not a triangle. We're more than a triangle. And the shareholders have at least 3 parts of the hexagon. It's at least 3 parts: management, staff, shareholders, but not just the shareholder of records. You have kids. You have grandkids who are living there. This is based on a one-man, one-apartment system that's from 1844. Rochdale Village Cooperative. This is based on that. I want to break that. I want to change the bylaws, because I know everybody is for it. I know the kids are. That anyone who's over 18 years old should have a voice in this community. If they are contributing to their apartment, to their home, they should have a voice, not just the one shareholder. Luckily, me and my partner are equal shareholders. We can still only get 1 vote, but we still have double voice. I'm not totally left out of it. Some people are moving in. The second person is not allowed to even be called a shareholder. They have to, oh no, you have to wait till your partner dies. Okay, right. We're 30. I don't think that's happening. Okay, let me look. I'm almost done. Goodbye.
Thank you, Mary. Please, we'd like you all to speak your minds, but we want you to stay on the topic and answer the questions. Okay? Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry, Jacqueline. You're last.
I don't want to make a move, but
No, you're next. Thank you.
while I appreciate the fact that Mr. Walton went around to all the buildings, speaking at association and one-on-ones is not an evaluation process. One of the reasons I love that I'm running with Leah, Shannon, myself, and Dr. White is that we've spent many nights already discussing what we're going to do, hit the ground running. Because as I told you earlier, even though we're running as a team, which is really a financial situation because it costs money to run on the board, each one of us has pledged to vote individually when we get in the boardroom based on our experience and with the grace of God, lead with our integrity. Here are the things we would do. Number one, Mr. Walton has been here for a year. He should have been granted a year evaluation. I have an executive position at my job. I hire people all the time. Before they walk through the door, we have expectations already. He should have been evaluated on a 6-point project that was in place when he was hired. Number two, We would instill semi-annual evaluation process for Douglas Elliman. The board will semi-annually meet with the managers just to give them a check-in, to let them know what the shareholders do if they know they're doing a good job, okay? And here's the big one that needs to come back that was here in 1971. We'd like Mr. Walton to institute monthly meetings in each section. For instance, Section 5, once a month, the managers of each of the departments will hold a meeting in the community center. We don't have to wait for a town hall meeting where we have a whole line of tables. Every
Thank you
month.
very much. We'll go back again and do the questions starting at the other end. Come on.
All right, we're making good time. We're on question number 5, and we will start with candidate number 12. Do you have the right temperament to work with others to bring solutions to the community? Can you negotiate, compromise, listen well, and entertain differences of opinions? What is your leadership style?
Yes to all of those questions. Yes to all of those questions. And I supervise 12 people daily on my job. We have monthly meetings, and everybody's allowed to, if we're having information, issues, share information first. So we first try to deal with problems that we're having, discuss them, have everybody give their opinion on it, and then we, of course, have to adhere to whatever policy and procedures are, but then everybody pools their resources in order to resolve the issue. That's how we do our monthly meetings. I listen. You have to first listen and gather all the information, and from there, you will be able to make your decisions. So I think that's what I bring to the table in order to, I'm open-minded. I'm not stuck on I'm being right. In order to make a decision, sometimes when you have an open forum where other people bring their ideas to the table, they're able to convince you that maybe you're not right. So I'm open to doing that, for us to work together as a team in order to make a decision, the best decision for the community.
Thank you.
Do you need me to repeat the question? It's a long one. I feel like I'll have to repeat this one a bunch, and that's perfectly fine. Just ask if I don't offer. So candidate number 11, do you have the right temperament to work with others to bring solutions to the community? Can you negotiate, compromise, listen well, and entertain differences of opinions? What is your leadership style?
So my leadership style is kind of twofold, because I come from management, and then I'm in the analyst profession, and then I manage contracts, right? So it kind of twofold. So when we talk about negotiation, that's really key when you're talking about contracting, right? You need to negotiate what's the best product for the community. What works best? How do we stay safe? What's at risk? In terms of my instructor and everyday management style, I'm really big on the Oreo method, right? The way we communicate more effectively. The Oreo method is you have the cookie and the cream in the middle. You start out with something positive. The cream is opportunities for improvement, and you always close with something positive. I think that that's key. And community engagement, listening skills is another item that's really key, because when you're dealing with vendors and management and cooperators, because again, I'm not pro-management, I'm pro-community, but it's really key that you hear what's being asked and you hear what's being shared so that we can have that conversation, because if we don't, sometimes contractors may fast talk us, right? And it's very important for us to have tight listening skills and be able to counter-respond for what's best for this community. So for me, I think my skills is more collaborative, engaging, being respectful, and respecting the feedback from others. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you need me to repeat the question?
No.
Okay. No, not you. Okay, candidate number 10.
Yes, Kevin Fogarty. Listening again, I've repeated this many times, just being a pastor. One of the things that I've learned is if you're the smartest one in the group, you're going to have a problem. You need to surround yourself with people, a team, So you have those that you would help, but then you need those that you can go to for help. And when you can put yourself in a position where you recognize that you're not a one-man show, a one-woman show, when you understand that it takes community, now you're willing to put your personal agenda aside and see what's best for the community, which means compromise is a must. This is not a dictatorship where I think I'm right and everything goes my way because I'm the smartest. I have all the degrees, I have all the experience. That's only a part of the puzzle. So what I say is, for compromise, you're really going to evaluate risk management. And can I really afford to lose this but gain this in the long run, which is beneficial for everyone? So with a non-selfish attitude, yes, that's what I'm about. It's not about me, it's about us. And I'm willing to just simply say, I made a mistake.
Thank you. Thank you. Candidate number 8.
Thank you. I feel that I embrace and I have listening skills. I am a diligent and I'm a team player. The skill that I embrace the most is that I have emotional intelligence. When I'm in a meeting, I understand it's not all about me and that you have to listen. You have to listen in order to understand. You cannot disrupt meetings when you don't hear what you want to hear. I have been a leader in the community in most hospitals because of my style of leadership. As a nurse, the most important part of nursing is listening in order to assess. We have to listen in order to assess, in order to set goals, in order to try and problem solve. So these are important skills that I have. I have been, like I said, a leader here of the National Council of Negro Women, and I feel that I've been an effective leader because of my skills. And I think that's it. One more thing I'd like to add, and I didn't hear that. I am very respectful. Respect goes a long way in meetings because when you have 15 individuals in one room, there's going to be 15 different opinions. And you have to listen. That's why we're a group. And once we listen to everyone's opinions, guess what? We're stronger. Because now I may not have thought of what the other person said.
Thank you. Candidate number 7. Do you need me to repeat the question? Okay, go ahead.
Being that I work for the post office, government official, I have about 50 people that I have to converse with. I have to gain their insight, and I have to assess them. So the first thing I do, I have to listen to them. I have to listen, I have to annotate what they're saying. I cannot be biased. And to lead that, to do that, you have to be with integrity. You have to have a right moral compass, being ethical. And you also have to get to know yourself, making sure that how you are and how you portray yourself is working for everyone, because everyone has different styles. So with that, always feedback. Feedback is a big thing for me. I always need to know what is the issue, what is the problem, how can I help solve it? You know, let's talk, let's engage. And, you know, I watch other leaders and I respect them. So with that, yeah. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Candidate 6.
As a building president, and as other building presidents would know, you have your own executive board, and you come together monthly or you come together bi-monthly. But the key is, while you're sitting on your building's executive board, you're respecting each other because you're trying to make your building a better place. It's not about ego. Ego is checked at the door. So we try to respect each other because we want to make things right. and we want to get things done. So you need to be self-aware. You need to be self-aware as to how you're approaching each other and your negotiations. Formerly, I used to be a lead technician, and as I told you before, I'm in quality control. So my key is to listen. My key is to look and see and watch and see what's going wrong, hear what's going wrong. And we, as a lead technician, we would come together, and we would come together with management, and we would respect each other. We would sit, and we would come with policy and new situations on how we could do the job at work. And there was no one, management wanted to hear the lead technicians' ideas, and lead technicians were happy to give their ideas, and management was happy to receive it.
Thank you. Candidate number 5.
Over 50 years living here, I've been deeply involved in every major activity in this community. And I initiated many coalitions. I shared with you the first coalition that we established when I was in the Co-op City Council to establish a lobby group. And we succeeded in bringing 50 busloads of cooperatives demanding some financial relief from Albany, of course. We failed, then we reverted to a rent strike. Now, what do I mean by coalition? Well, we have to establish a goal first. And then how do we accomplish that goal? What tactic? Now, sometimes folks think they're revolutionaries and they're going to do some crazy things. And sometimes you're in the mix of it and you have to sometimes concede to it. So I'll give you an example. We've established a coalition against the bus service cuts. And somebody said, well, let's go sit down on Bartow Avenue and stop traffic. Crazy, right? Well, I had to concede. The majority wanted it. Well, of course, it failed. So my point is, yes, you have to sometimes concede until they're proven wrong and I'm proven right, and we have to work that way. And that's how it is all the time with coalitions. It's not all smooth riding. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate number 4.
I believe we would love to believe that there will be no harsh words, there will be no animosity, there will be no tough love or tough situations or tough conversations. And we all want to believe that we can be the best leaders and not be biased and not, lead with our heads, not with our hearts, or with our hearts, not with our heads. We are all human beings, right? We all come with baggage in some shape, form, or fashion, right? But when we put community first, when we think about the community, we leave anything that we have going on personally at the door. This is not about the shareholder, this is not about the board members, this is not about what we want, how we feel, because a lot of times people react based on their own personal experiences and what's going on in their lives. So they don't like to compromise. Being a board member is about compromising. I like your idea. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for this situation, and it's not going to work for the community. My management style is based on my teaching style. I've been teaching for 24 years. I've taught pre-K through 6th grade and 8th grade. I'm teaching 1st grade now. You have to have patience. You have to be a leader. You mold small minds, young minds, and you want them to have an impression of you of love. And that's what this community needs to bring back. We need to bring back the love for this community and stop with the harsh words and have an understanding.
Thank you. Candidate number 3.
Yes, hi. Your question makes me think of a saying that we all probably have heard of before. Together, everyone achieves more. That's how I approach management or my management style. Currently, I'm a building president. Trust me, as I know I have one of my directors here, many of my ideas got shot down when I took over as president. I didn't take it personally. Many times we have ideas that you think it will work, but other people have different views, and you have to respect that. we can't sit here, we don't sit in a dictatorship. I'm trying to become part of a board, not a board of one. And I feel like we have people who needs to make sure we remember that. We represent the shareholders. We come from different sections, different backgrounds. And so my management style is remembering that we are gonna have a different viewpoint, but not work against each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate number 2.
Okay, my name is Mary Pearson, and when I first ran for the board in 2018, I said, I am persuasive, but I am also persuadable. I am not pig-headed. I always think I'm right, and I come around to realizing I am not, very infrequently, but I do realize it when it's in my face. My temperament is not ideal. I'm very impatient, especially with people who are not doing their homework, who just come up with ideas because they think they're so smart, and anything I think of must be a smart idea. No, you have to do your homework. I hate to use the word research. You got to do your research. Okay. The golden rule and common good. This is Co-op City. We have to do things for each other. I have this thing that I always say, like the teens don't play in the tot lots, and the tots don't eat JASA meals, and the JASA people don't go on the slip and slide. We are a cooperative. We have to do for each other. We have to provide for each other. I'm passionate, yes, I am incredibly passionate. It gets me in trouble. My big fat mouth gets me in trouble all the time. I'm out of time.
Thank you. Candidate number 1.
Don't start the clock. It's freezing in here.
Is it? I see a lot of people.
It is.
Is it keeping everyone awake?
No.
Okay. Maybe we'll see if we can do something about it. Good. Okay. Alrighty.
I just concluded one of my favorite services. I just concluded, I was a finance chair for 501c. We don't have as much money as Co-op City, but I helped to raise $200,000, and I was given the responsibility of overseeing it. I currently have been supervising anywhere from 8 to 12 people in juvenile detention. I have our children in jail from the ages of 18 to 20. What have I learned from these experiences? My greatest resource is the people that I worked with on the charity, and my greatest resource at my job is the people that I supervise. My greatest resource in Co-op City are the shareholders. It's my job, it's my responsibility on my job to bring out the best in my employees, and my job at the charity was to make sure that all decisions that I made, I invited God in, and I led with my integrity, even when I didn't get invited to the barbecue. So what am I saying to you today? I'm saying that I'll go on the board, I'll work with another board member, I'll compromise, let me hear your idea. You listen to my idea. Today I vote your way, tomorrow you vote my way. I go with the strength-based approach. However, I promise you, if I'm ever confronted on the board and I have to make a decision, and in my spirit and in my heart, if I honestly feel that it's not for the benefit of you and me.
Thank you. Okay. We are at our final question, question number 6, after which we will have our closing statements, and we will be continuing the reverse order. Yeah, we're at 6 now. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Candidate number 12, as we're doing it again in reverse order, the final question is, do you believe directors elected to the board should have professional backgrounds to adequately work through the issues like just experienced with this maintenance carrying charge increase?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, please repeat.
Excuse me. This is the question for the candidates, not for the audience. So if you didn't understand the question, can you ask?
Please repeat the question.
Okay. Do you believe directors elected to the board should have professional backgrounds to adequately work through the issues like those just experienced with this maintenance carrying charge increase?
No, I don't, because right now we have a resident board, and it means that every shareholder is, whatever their skill sets are, whatever their education is entitled to be a board member. But we do have committees, and that is where I believe professionals in whatever the skills are would benefit the board, because from those committees, ideas are brought and discussed and decided upon, and those decisions, those committees then make recommendations to the board, and when they come to the board, then the board will be able to, you know, have conversation, discuss, reason, provide, work with management in order to make a proper decision for the community. So you shouldn't, a shareholder should not feel that if they don't have a professional skill that they're not able to come to the board. This is not a professional board, this is a resident board. And so if someone has, someone may have better communication skills even though they're not a professional, and be able to work with the board to get accomplishments for the community. Your skills don't mean that, if you're not a professional, doesn't mean that you shouldn't be on the board and you're going to be a detriment to the board. As a matter of fact, I think you might bring things other than that to the board.
Thank you. Candidate 11.
Yes, I do. I think that to be a board director, you should have a certain level of business experience. We have committees, and then we have board directors. This is a $200 million corporation. Ask yourself, who would you hire? You would hire someone that could move the needle. You would want someone running your corporation that understands budget, finance, management, strategic planning, right? You would want that. And that's what we have here. Here in Co-op City is our corporation. Who do you want to lead that for you? That's what you have to ask. You vote for me, community first, you'll get that team. We have a diverse experience, a business background in all of those areas. And we can move the needle, and we understand what you're saying. We want to hear from you. We always ask for your feedback, and we would continue to do that because we want this community to be successful. And anyone that think they can come in here as a contractor and think they can fast talk us, it's not going to happen. We got you. We got this community. We want it to stay affordable. We want you to continue to be the best North community around. Thank you.
Next, Kevin Fogarty.
Kevin Fogarty. Credentials. Is it absolutely necessary? My opinion, no. Does it help? Absolutely. There's a skill set that comes along with the credentials. But to say that it is an absolute, you just knocked off a lot of the other people that have not been afforded the opportunity to go get these credentials and maybe offer something and be a part of the board. It is important to have the expertise on the board. That is a must. But to say that it is an absolute, no. We have to create a balance. Does it mean that other people that do not have the credentials don't have what those that have the credentials have? Absolutely not. You have many people here, and myself included, with just life experiences. I don't have a degree in computer science, but I can hold my own against anyone that's in computer science. Is it necessary? As an absolute, no. Is it helpful? Is it advisable? Absolutely yes. So you find a balance. Once you become extreme, you're going to run into a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheila Richburg.
Thank you. I have to think about this question just a tad bit, but off the top of my head, I would say that experience and education and background and leadership is important. It definitely is important. But to be a Riverbay Board Director, the qualifications state 18 years of age, a shareholder, and I think you have the passion to listen to the shareholders, do your due diligence, and vote in the way that is the best for the shareholders in the community. I come with a lot of experience in different ways. I do believe that makes me a better qualified candidate, but I cannot say that someone that does not have my experience will not be just as passionate and assist this board to move forward. So no, I don't think it's mandatory, but I think, as my colleague said, it will definitely help. It will definitely help. And thank you.
Thank you. Corazon Fernandez.
I like how you say that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Short answer, no, and no. What are we going to do but, have lawyers, accountants, and architects only on the board? The community won't be affordable. Board members come from all walks of life. Just have common sense, truthfully. Listen to reason, listen to the community. Be prepared to do the work by researching. And by researching, again, listening to you, the shareholders, because you have a lot to say. And for that, we come to concluded to an informed decision, because we are board of directors, but the management is the one who finalizes the decisions. So, again, thank you for your time. Corazon Fernandez here.
Thank you. Ezekiel Springer, you're next.
Do you need it? It would be nice, sure. Why not? What the heck? But the key is each and every shareholder can be involved with the board. Each one of you out there could be a board member. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody here comes with certain intangibles that other people don't have. Sure, you come with experience, work experience. I come with quality control and technical evaluation. So I can look and see and tell what's wrong with something. But you guys got skill sets from your walks of life that you can bring to this board. Did you know that? This is why we need your participation. And most of all, the key is we need passion. You gotta have passion to do this. You gotta listen, you gotta research, you gotta watch. You gotta hold the people accountable, you gotta be accountable. That's all you really need in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you. Bernie Silage.
Yeah. I happen to agree with most of the folks here. Yes, there is no policy. Let me reverse this. Every cooperative has a right to serve on the board, as long as they're financially not in debt to the corporation. And I don't know about age, but anyway, perhaps it's age too, 18. However, everyone has a stake here. What's the stake? They pay counter charge, they're trying to keep the affordable, and they want service. Those are two things they demand. And that's it. And keep this place safe and habitable and livable. That's the stake. Everybody has it. Nobody. So how can you discriminate somebody who say, well, you can't be on the board because you don't have the skill set? You can't do that. It's illegal. It's discriminatory. But once you get on the board, we need advisors, right? We need consultants. We need professionals. We have committees, and we invite community people who have some skill set to come with the committee. We have construction workers, we have accountants, we have legal aid people. All these folks have skills. We have to invite them and serve on these committees.
Thank you. Shauna Zeldin.
I believe having skills and having an education, go hand in hand. I do think you have to think critically, right? You have to be willing to participate. You have to be willing to make a change, willing to do something for your community. I think having the heart and passion can go a long way. But as they say, there are a lot of internet experts in different fields. So I believe that education is important. I'm an educator. I would probably be fired if I didn't say I stress education. So that's a priority for me, and I set that as a priority for children. I don't think shareholders necessarily need to be highly educated. I do think they need to have some type of critical thinking skills and know about budgets, as Leah Graham said. I think you need to know about budgets. You need to know how to manage. We're talking about money. We're not talking about monopoly money. We're talking about people's lives. And when people's lives are at stake, you want the best person that's going to be able to carry that torch along to the next generation. And that torch is our community, our apartments. You don't want someone that maybe just has a passion for being a board member, right? But when they get in there, then they're overwhelmed with so much that they can't think critically because they don't have those skills. So passion is one thing, but experience, says a lot. So I think you should.
Thank you. Aaron Carnegie.
Thank you. Short answer, no. We come from all walks of life. I was on the security committee a few years ago. I'm not a cop. I'm not in security. But I do have ideas on how to improve our security. You can be a board member. One of the qualifications, as mentioned, is you have to not owe Riverbay any money. That means you know how to budget your money. So I don't need a master's in finance to know how to budget money. It's my money. I make sure the important things get paid. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't qualify to be able to run for the board. So no, you don't need to have degrees or specialties in a certain field. I love technology. I would love to be on a technology committee. I'm not in computer science. I'm in management. But I would love to be on that committee. Should I be held back just because I'm not in computer science? No. So I believe, no, your background should not dictate if you should be on the board or not. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Pearson.
I would like you to repeat the question, please.
Surely. Give me a second here. Do you believe directors elected to the board should have professional backgrounds to adequately work through the issues like those just experienced with this maintenance carrying charge increase?
Thank you. I really wanted everyone to hear that again. Okay. I do not believe you need it. I think you need an open mind. I think you need a curious mind. I think you need to do homework, and you have to show up, and you have to care. I think the most important thing for being on a board is temperament. And I am so excited to have met Kevin Fogarty and Sheila Richburg. I've always known Andrea Leslie had the temperament for the board. She doesn't speak out that often, but when she does, oh, she is so wise. It really is just wonderful and exciting. Sheila, I've known of her, but I've never spent time with her. And today, things have been so revelatory. Kevin Fogarty, he's a pastor, and he is bringing that, okay, now let's get along. He's bringing, I'm not a religious person, but one of my favorite people in the world is Reverend Barber, and he is very passionate. Right? I don't know why you're saying passion is not passion is very important, to love your neighbors and to want everybody to be thriving. That's what this team is for. We are dedicated to a thriving community. I left out Zeke because not only do I like his temperament, but I like his style. I like that.
Thank you, Mary. And finally, Jacqueline Smith.
Thank you very much. The Riverbay Board was born out of the rent strike. We went from steering committees to becoming the Riverbay Board. We asked the state of New York to give us an opportunity to have a say in our community. They won't allow us to manage ourselves, but we have a board. No, you don't need a degree, but you need a skill set. Now, I have a sister who doesn't have any degrees at all, and she's been working for 25 years, and she has quite a few professional skill sets. So no, you don't need a degree, but when you come on the Riverbay Board, you need to bring a skill set, whatever that may be. You might have worked at your job for 25 years as an administrative assistant. So guess what? You're going to come to the board, and you're going to help them get organized with their administrative task. The committees were set up, the history of the committees in Co-op City was set up for that, for shareholders to get involved in any committee and bring their knowledge. This is our moment. Do we or do we not want to bring Co-op City into the 21st century? Do we want to lean in? Do we want to find the best shareholder with the most integrity? They could have been a janitor for 25 years. They'll know whether or not the procurement department is buying the right materials to do our floors. This is our moment. Brave wins. Vote.
Thank you. We finally are at the end of our journey. So we're going to give each of you 90 seconds to close. So please, candidate number 12, you have the honor of going first.
What an honor. Fellow shareholders, I ask that you vote for me, Andrea Leslie, and the Impact Team, Bernie Silage, Mary Pearson, Kevin Fogarty, Sheila Richburg, and Ezekiel Springer Jr. We want to continue the advances that we've made, and we want to continue the advances we've made to a thriving community. We want to advance our community in a financially. We want to continue to advance our community in being financially sound and safe, and we're also wanting to contribute to making this community more active and participatory. We want you to vote again for the Impact Team, Andrea Leslie, myself, Bernie Silage, Kevin Fogarty, Mary Pearson, Ezekiel Springer, and Sheila Richburg. Thank you.
Thank you. Leah Graham.
Thank you. Okay. Let's think about this. Ongoing carrying charge increases, 8.1%. By electing me and the Community First team, you will get a group of individuals who have the business skills. I didn't mention degrees or doctrines, business experience and knowledge to move the needle, to help keep our community affordable. That is what we're talking about here. That's really what we're talking about. Being a board director, being on a committee, right? Anyone can be on a committee. But being in that boardroom for a $200 million corporation does absolutely require business experience. And by electing Community First, you will have that in the boardroom, collaborating with other strong, hard-working directors who is for this community. We can have the talk with contractors. We can have that talk with management because we have that experience. We can talk about the budget because we know how to budget. And that's what you need. You need to keep your community affordable. That's what this election is all about. It is time for change. It is time for new ideas. It's time for business savvy. So please, vote Community First.
Thank you. Kevin Fogarty.
Kevin Fogarty. Transparency and integrity is going to be key. No personal agendas. And so the impact team, Bernie Silage, Mary Pearson, Andrea Leslie, Sheila Richburg, and Ezekiel Springer Jr., and myself, that's what we bring. Integrity with no personal agendas. Couple that with transparency, I think you'll be pleased with what we bring to the table. As an ex-correction officer, tense and combative situations is not uncomfortable for me. As a pastor, compassion and a listening ear is what I bring. And as a shareholder, I really want to emphasize this. You may not get the impact of it right now, but take some time and meditate on this. Do not act as a consumer. Understand you're an owner. With that kind of a mentality, you will shift your mindset in understanding the problems that we are encountering as a board of directors. Then you'll be able to help us because you'll be thinking as an owner, not a consumer. So let's grow together, educate, inform. Let's work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Sheila Richburg.
Thank you to the election committee for hosting the forum. Thank you to all of the candidates for being here, and good luck to you all. My name is Sheila Richburg. As stated earlier, I humbly request your vote to be on the board of directors. I commit to be the type of board member that puts the needs of our community first. I will respect your vote. I come to you with a strong track record of leadership here in Co-op City because I have served in many capacities. I am a nurturer. I'm a mother of 5. And I sit here today and proudly state that all 5 of my children have graduated with their bachelor's degree and 3 with their master's degree because I get results. I know how to nurture them individually and collectively, and that's what I will do in this community. I'm an independent thinker, but I'm a team player. So please vote for the impact team. Sheila Richburg, Bernie Silage, Mary Pearson, Andrea Leslie, and Ezekiel Springer Jr. We bring both experience and a fresh set of new viewpoints. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Corazon Fernandez.
I gotta say, I thank you again for saying my name like that. But furthermore, I've lived here long enough to know that this community is worth saving. It's worth rebuilding, and I want to be a part of that rebuild. You know, for my grandmother, for my mom, for my children. But we must keep the quality of life up and the carrying charges down. You know, no new rent increases, no additional rent increases for at least like 5 years. No forcing Co-op City residents to pay extra to charge electric vehicles. We already pay for electricity. Yes, bring back lobby attendants every building, every day. And yes, return our service and security of garage attendants with expanded duties. And again, I want to thank you. You are what makes us. This is your community. I'm a part of it. I want to thank you for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you. Next, Ezekiel Springer Jr.
First off, I want to thank the election committee for hosting and having this. Great job. And I want to thank the audience for those of you who showed up. This is key. Remember my name, Ezekiel Springer Jr. If you elect me, I will work for us. Transparency, you will learn what I learned. You will know what I know. I pledge to be responsible and act in good faith for Co-op City. Just know my decisions will be for a better Co-op City. We will deal with cable, Optimum versus Verizon, we will handle that. And we will try and make dog owners be more responsible. And Also, improving the quality of life and making sure that police, CCPD, are more visible in our community. So in order to do that, you need to vote for the impact team. That's Sheila Richburg, Kevin Fogarty, Bernie Silage, Andrea Leslie, Mary Pearson, and myself, Ezekiel Springer Jr. You can't forget that name. How many people you know with that name? So, glad you came out. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Bernie Silage.
I just want to share with you some data. First of all, I'm not sure all of you know what the median rental for one-bedroom apartment in the Bronx is. It's $1,900, $1,900 with gas and electricity. What's the average carrying charge for one-bedroom apartment in Co-op City that you are paying now? $895. Last 8 years, consumer price index increased by 28%. Our modest increases only increased by 17%. In the budget, we trimmed public safety, payroll and burden, and we saved $9 million. And excess electricity, we earned double what we earned previous period by $8 million. We doubled the increase income in equity calls. And what did the 45th precinct declare as crime rate in this area? It dropped by 18%. So we have a good trajectory, positive trajectory that this coalition has been leading. And I suggest that you vote for us in the coming elections, vote for the impact team, Ezekiel.
Barry,
Sheila.
time's up. Sorry, Bernie. Shauna Zelda, Montgomery.
Thank
please.
you, Election Committee. Thank you, shareholders, for coming out and spending your time with us and your commitment to this cooperative. As a nation, we take care of everyone except our own. Now, if we're waiting for someone outside the community to save Co-op City, we need to get in line with veterans who served our community, seniors who built our community, and children who are the future of our community. We're not asking for anything we're not entitled to. Fair and reasonable maintenance increases only after we've exhausted other resources, building and property cleanliness and upkeep, open communication between shareholders and decision makers, and board of directors that put community first. And that's exactly what we'll do. By coming together, we can leverage our collective power to advocate for fair maintenance increases. We can improve our buildings. We can make a difference if we come together collectively. Like they say, divided, how does it go? United we stand, divided we fall. We need to unite. If we've never united before, we really do. And the Community First team of Shani Zelda Montgomery, Leah Graham, Jacqueline Smith, and Dr. Keyshawn White, we have what it takes to bring this community back alive and to make us feel proud of living here once again. We can do it. We are a team, but we think independently. And that's why I neglected to mention us all the time, because we think we have independent minds. So I mentioned it now, but vote for the Community First team. We have what it takes, and we'll bring us back together.
Thank you. Aaron Carnegie.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's nice to see a room full during the election process. When I ran back in 2019, it was hard to get people to come out and show up and be part of the process. We've heard a lot about what I've mentioned before was this is the most consequential election in our history of Co-op City, and that is true. A lot of you built New York City. My father built railroad tracks. Some of you were teachers, retired teachers. Some of you are retired NYPD corrections. You're now retired and living on a fixed income. You cannot afford to vote incorrectly and continue to pay of these out-of-control rent increases. We need to start looking for alternative sources of income. That is why I'm running for the board. I have many ideas to bring to Co-op City to find alternative sources of income, to use alternative sources of income. If you make the mistake and vote for your friends or the incorrect vote, it's going to affect you living in Co-op City, and you may have to leave.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Mary Pearson?
Hi. Okay. Before we were talking about, do you need to be a professional? Do you need degrees? And I said, no, it's not the most important thing, but I do happen to have a degree in communication and advertising, marketing, and PR. I was a band leader I was a one-man band leader for 30 years and a band leader up to, 2 members to big band for many of those years. I want to make a couple of corrections. We are a $6 billion community. We are not. We are a yearly $240 million community, which is about $40 million a month. It takes a lot to juggle money in, money out to make sure that money in is bigger than out. Okay. I want to mention that I and Andrea Leslie are the cheapest people on the board. You agree, Andrea? Indeed. So we are not looking for frills. I wanted to clear the brush away from the Section 5 waterside walkway. And I fought for it. I put through a resolution that was voted unanimously. Do you know how rare that is for everyone to agree, yes, we should do that? We didn't get it, but we got the Water View Park in Section 5. You've got to come down and see it. It's lovely. I am Crusader Rabbit. I have been fighting the MTA and the DOT. Read my article and you'll see how to find it.
Thank you, Mary. And finally, Jacqueline Smith.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the volunteers. Your selfless service, the election committee, is what keeps this community going. Thank you. And I want to wish all the candidates on this day good luck. The Community First team, Leah Graham, Shannon Montgomery, Jacqueline Smith, and Dr. Keishan White, who could not be with us tonight. Okay. First and foremost, we're going to respect your vote. 7 votes on the board have to stop. We stand for budget oversight, contract compliancy. We want to bring back and implement community policing. We need an enhanced dog policy. Most of the shareholders in Co-op City are law-abiding dog owners. There's only a few that are ruining it for the bunch. It needs to be addressed. And most importantly, if you didn't know, there was a law passed in New York State that in so many years we have to move away from a particular source of energy and go straight to electric. No new capital projects without a forensic audit on all departments, including the Riverbay Fund, so we get an understanding of cash on hand and which way this money's going before we invest in any new projects. I understand that they have a pamphlet that went around about the sensories for your convectors.
Thank you. Okay. Everyone just take a deep breath. It's 5:30 and we're getting out of here soon. I think this deserves a round of applause for the candidates and the wonderful job you all did today. So I have to make some closing remarks, but I think I speak
90
for...
seconds.
I'll do it even better. I'll do 80. I think I speak for the audience when I say this has just been a really great experience. It's been really enlightening hearing from you all. We really do appreciate the time that you took out to come explain things to us, the thoroughness with which you prepared. It was really evident. And we wish you all the best of luck on your journey. I just want to give some closing remarks before we start bustling because I think it'll get hard to hear. I know it is freezing cold in here. I promise to try to keep it to 5 minutes. So we're doing our best to make it look like there's an election happening this year. And how do you think the room looks? Good? Everyone? Yes? Okay. We're trying. We welcome all ideas. This is a volunteer effort, okay? So we are doing the best we can to give you a really great and fair election, and I think it's going swimmingly so well. Thank you to the shareholders, thank you to the candidates. Election season has officially begun, or unofficially, officially, right? We've had our first candidates forum. Ballots are in the mail. You will start receiving your ballots on Monday. The picture of how your ballot will look is in the Co-op City Times green envelope. It should catch your eye. Voting begins on Monday. Election day is Monday, May 20th through June 14th. That's the beginning of the election cycle. If we don't meet a quorum, we have to talk about, extended, but please, people, you're here today. When you get your ballots, when you attend these forums, vote. That is our duty as shareholders. Forum number 2 is on Wednesday, May 22nd at 7 p.m., Einstein Auditorium, room 45. Please be there. Shareholders can submit questions. I mentioned it earlier, but because there were some people that joined us a little bit later, I'll just, re-mention it, right? If you want to submit a question for a forum, you have to do so by 9 p.m. on the day before. So for forum number 2, which is next Wednesday, May 22nd, you will need to submit your question to the election committee by Tuesday, May 21st. There are currently 4 ways you can submit a question. You can use the collection box, which is right here by the door. So you'll have an opportunity to just write your question down on the form, drop it in the box. Or you can use the form that is printed in the Co-op City Times and has been printed for the last couple of weeks and will continue to print it until we finish the forum series. You can fill that form out and you can take it to your CSO office. The third way, you can use the link that is in this Co-op City Times. You can scan the QR code, you can type in the URL, go on the computer, fill out the form there, or you can email the election committee. So we're hoping that one of those 4 ways will be sufficient to get additional questions. This goes without saying, read the Co-op City Times. That is the way the election committee is communicating with the community this election season. Everything you need to know will be there. So, Jeff, nothing for you? Okay. Once again, we thank you all for your time. We will see you on Wednesday, hopefully. Great job, candidates.